Tonight I am baking homemade pizza for dinner. Really, I'm just sharing with you guys my marinara sauce recipe. It's amazing. You know, toppings are so customizable. You do whatever you want when you feel like it. And for the crust, I use the pizza crust recipe that is on the back of Jovial's einkorn flour container. So I will show you how I make this, but obviously it's not my recipe, so I'm not gonna give the ingredients for it. One thing that you will need is a digital scale. This was like $5 on Amazon. And it's just a more accurate way of measuring your ingredients. It's really easy. You guys get used to using a digital scale. Honestly, you won't wanna, it's harder to go back to cups. So first I need to add in warm water. All right, so I got my water, which they actually measure in cups, funny enough. So I did my water, and then we need flour and yeast and sugar. This is a pretty easy pizza dough recipe, and it's really good. I like it. This, I think this makes, it says, this makes 4 8-inch pizzas. I do 1 giant pizza. So if you don't need a giant pizza, obviously cut back. The sauce, my marinara sauce recipe that I'm sharing, oops, that doesn't go together, is enough for 2 of these pizzas, but I just freeze the extra so I have it the next time I want to make pizza. If you don't want to make your own pizza dough or pizza crust, just buy them. There are plenty of stores that sell pre-made pizza crusts, and that's just fine. Ryder, Sissy's not over there. She's in the living room. It's over there. There's a stampede of elephants coming through. But yeah, so if you don't want to make your own pizza crust, that's not something you have to worry about. Now I need to add in some of my flour. It's only having me add partial of the flour right now, and then I gotta let it sit for a few minutes. But part of the reason the scale is nice is because you just zero it out between measurements. Not if you're using grams for everything, and then you're not using 8 million measuring cups. It's just the scale and whatever bowl you're using. So here's what this looks like now. I just need to mix it together, and then I just have to let it sit for 15 minutes to get that yeast going, and then we will come back to this for the next step. I will say, if you've never tried making your own pizza dough, you should definitely try, because it's easy. I don't know if they have their recipe on their website. They might. And I'm sure you could use normal flour with this. It doesn't have to be einkorn flour. That's just what they make. So obviously that's what they would use. All right, so it's mixed up. I never mix it perfectly. It's a little bit lumpy, but it'll get taken care of later. Let it sit for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back. All right, 15 minutes is up. That's what it looks like. You can see it's nice and bubbly. Now I need to add in the rest of my flour. This does take a lot of flour. Like I said, it's for 4 little pizzas. Or 1 giant pizza. And this is a thicker crust the way that I do it, but I like it that way. Ryder, buddy, can you please take that upstairs? Whoa, careful. Tripped on a pile of Legos. This is one thing about snow days. The house is a lot warmer. Or warmer and louder than it would be if it was not a snow day, or if it was summer and I could send the children outside. But it is not summer, so we get to cook with little people in the background being rambunctious. And I just need to get this mixed up really well. What are you doing, Aspen? Okay, thank you. Alright, so now it just says mix it as much as you can. This is kind of where I get, and then it's not incorporating the flour much anymore, so then we add in the olive oil. And at this point, it wants us to knead the dough. I'm not like the laziest dough kneader though. I don't want to make more of a mess on my counter with flour and yada yada yada. So I just mix it in here until I like the consistency. So I'll work on this for a minute or two and then show you guys. So now this is a nice consistency that I like. See, it's kind of staying in a ball shape. Normally I have these nice covers that I put over while I let them sit, but I accidentally picked out my biggest mixing bowl and these won't fit. So I'm just gonna drape a clean kitchen towel over top of this, and then it's gotta sit for I think 2 hours, and then we will come back to this. Okay, so it's been 2 hours. Here's what our pizza dough looks like. It has easily doubled in size. Now, I just need to prep my pizza pan. And one nice thing about this recipe is I'm not trying to toss this in the air and make like, you know, I'm not a fancy pizza maker. So, it's just gets rolled out, which for me is a really good thing. That's my handy little olive oil pump. Whew. Popped right out. I always make a mess of my shirts. Now I just roll it out to fit the pan, really. I always end up, oh, what did I do all over it? Something dirty all over. I don't know what that came off of. Okay. We're okay. Crisis averted. Anyways, I always like use my belly to hold this down, otherwise the pan is sliding everywhere. I don't know what I dropped on it. Something came off of something. Oh well. Oh, and the oven is now preheated to 500 degrees. You always want to cook pizza at a very, very high temperature. As I said, this is an oversized cookie sheet, pizza dish, whatever you want to call it, because this crust, their recipe is enough for 4 8-inch pizzas, and I'm doing 1 extra large pizza with a thicker crust, because that is how we like it. I'm sure I could half the recipe and it would still be enough, and I just have a thinner crust. But this works just fine for us. So after it's out, the next part is my marinara sauce, which, as I said, I make this in batches big enough for 2 pizzas, and I just freeze half of it. I love these containers, so I will make sure to link these for you. And then I just have it ready to go the next time I need pizza, which is a lot, because who doesn't need pizza? And trust me, if you guys haven't made your own marinara sauce, you should start, because it's just amazing. And then you can have as much as you want. Some people like a little bit of sauce, some people like a lot. I like a lot of marinara on my pizza. When we used to order pizza, I would always order extra, because that is how I like it. And this smells so good. I am already salivating, and this isn't even cooked yet, and I want to eat it all. And I don't worry about getting it spread perfectly even. This is pizza. It's not a masterpiece. So it is what it is. And I'm sure it spreads out a little bit while it's cooking, but I'm not overly concerned as long as there's not a naked spot. Obviously the edges can be naked, but as long as there's not a naked spot in the middle. And then I do cheese next. This is gonna be personal preference. Some people like their toppings and then cheese on top of the toppings. I like my toppings on top of the cheese, or you could do cheese, toppings, cheese, you know, whatever you want. And the cheese is another one of those things that it's totally up to you what kind of cheese, how much cheese. If you want cheese at all, you can totally skip putting cheese on it. We really like cheese here, at least on pizzas. I don't really eat cheese. I know some people just snack on cheese. That's not a thing for me. My kids do that. I do not. If you do a pizza this big, I would recommend at least a pound of cheese. So each of these bags is a pound, and I end up using almost, this is just cheddar and mozzarella. So I do, it's probably 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of cheese, depending. But I mean, pepper jack would be amazing on this, or Colby. My husband's allergic to Colby, so I can't have that. You know, put some Parmesan on here. Obviously, I feel like every pizza needs mozzarella. Obviously, if you shred your own, and freshly shredded is going to be a heck of a lot better than this, but when you're short on time, you just buy the dang shredded cheese and you deal with it. It's still better than frozen pizza. So the next thing we're going to do is our other toppings. This is mostly for the kids, so they just prefer meat. So I'm gonna do sausage from Italian Sausage and pepperoni from some store-bought pepperoni. If it was me, I'd have more onions and peppers and mushrooms, but the kids don't like that. So let's get our meat products. So this is just a mild Italian sausage. If you want to do sausage, do whatever, you know. You don't have to use Italian sausage. You don't have to do mild. You can do spicy. And I just roll it into little balls and flop them all over the place. Okay, now I need to put on the pepperoni. I should have put the pepperoni on first. It probably would have been easier. But the kids are like stomping around upstairs like dinosaurs. It's distracting me. So this is the kind of pepperoni that we use. Again, you know, like a fresh slice or homemade pepperoni would be better than this. But this is just fine. It tastes fine. And this is gonna look really loaded with stuff here at the end, but just remember that everything shrinks down in the oven as it's getting cooked. So if you don't pack it full right now, it's gonna be kind of naked after you get it done. And remember, we don't like naked pizza. We like our pizza well dressed. Okay, so this pizza is ready for the oven. This should only take about 15-20 minutes to bake at 500 degrees. But keep in mind, if you pile yours high of stuff, or there's a lot of veggies or things that are gonna put off a lot of liquid as they're cooking, it's probably gonna take a little longer than that. So keep that in mind and pay attention. You don't want the bottom to get overcooked, so maybe if it's gonna be a longer cook time, you might put it on the top rack instead of the middle rack. And then one more thing that I do, which I'll show you guys when I get there, is before the last 5-6 minutes of cooking, I take the pizza out and I brush around the edges a butter, garlic, parsley infusion that just, I think, makes it extra delicious. Okay, so the pizza's almost done now, so I've mixed up some butter with garlic and parsley and a little tiny bit of salt. And I don't have an actual pastry brush, so I just use my knife to paint it around the edges here. And if you mix up too much of this butter mixture, just put it in the freezer or save it for other things. This is great with eggs. You know, put a little bit before you fry an egg in the morning, or on bread. You can make a really lovely garlic bread with this on top when you're baking it. Or Texas toast. This is what I use when I make Texas toast for when we have spaghetti. Now, I did say this was good. I didn't say it was healthy. It's better than a store-bought one, but this isn't a cauliflower pizza. This is all the calories in my pizza. Very pretty when you put that on. Maybe if you used garlic powder instead of minced garlic, it would look a little nicer, but who cares? This is for me and the kids and my husband. So now this is just gonna go back in the oven for the last few minutes until it's done. It's close, but it's not quite there. I can guarantee that the middle of that dough is probably still raw. So I'll give it another, probably 3 minutes. I'll check it in 3 minutes, and then it's not done. Give it a few more. Alrighty, I just pulled the pizza out of the oven. It is very hot, so I need to let this cool off for at least 10 or 15 minutes before I even bother cutting it up to serve it to the kids. But it looks delicious. It smells delicious. My whole house smells amazing. I need to go out and feed the animals quick, and then hopefully by the time I'm done doing that, this will be cooled off enough that we can dig in for dinner.